Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, to the Perfect One, to the Supremely Enlightened One. Gratitude to the Sangha for preserving and propagating this noble teaching until now. Grateful salutations to our teacher, Most Venerable Dr. Acharya Buddharakita Badabante, Most Venerable Guru Bhanteji, and the Holy Sangha here. Dear Venerable monks, Upasakas and Upasikas, a very hearty greetings of the Dhammacakka day to all of you, and blessings and metta to everyone, those who are joining on this very, very important, significant, and very auspicious occasion. Online, yeah. Okay. Happy Dhammacakka day to everyone, and happy Guru Purnima to all the followers of the Dhamma, or the devotees, or the seekers of the truth, or the seekers of enlightenment. Today is indeed a very, very significant, important, auspicious, most blessed occasion in the history of mankind. Because this day the world has seen the light of awakenment, the light of enlightenment, the light of illumination in the form of Bodhi. The Buddha, with his boundless and infinite wisdom, which he has accumulated through his past lives, he became enlightened on the full moon day of Vaisakha, just exactly 2 months ago. The Buddha Purnima, which the Buddha experienced the nature of his enlightenment, and the Asara Purnima, the Purnima which marks the first teachings of Lord Buddha. Bhagavan Buddha has set in motion this incomparable wheel of Dhamma. And once he attained enlightenment, he was suspicious whether I should teach this Dhamma or not, because Dhamma is so subtle, and he discovered with a lot of difficulties. But our human minds are filled with so much of defilements and ignorance. All the times we are bombarded by craving and ignorance. How could we understand this subtle Dhamma? So Buddha was in dilemma. But then the Brahma Sampati, he made a request to Lord Buddha that if the Lord would not teach the Dhamma, this world will never see enlightenment. People will not be released from sufferings. Therefore, O Lord Buddha, out of compassion, please preach this noble Dhamma. So this compassion, this Maha Karuna, symbolizes the Buddha nature. With Karuna, the Buddha reached out to the hearts of sentient beings. Now the Buddha says in Pali, Aparupa tesang amatasya dvara yo sotavantang pamuchantu sotang, which means the path to deathless is now open, is made clear, and those who have wisdom, or those who are willing to be liberated, those who have so-called ears, they listen to these noble teachings, the teachings of liberation, the teachings of freedom. That is how the Buddha walked all the way from the Bodhi tree to Varanasi, Isipatana and Meghadaya. And he took this trouble out of his compassions and to make known, to set in motion these noble teachings. Now, this discourse, which tells us, which is a discovery, and it is the fundamentals of Buddha's teachings. Whatever the Buddha have taught during his compassionate mission of 45 years, all his teachings are summarized in this sutta. So this sutta is a discovery, or what the Buddha have realized under the Bodhi tree and what he experienced in the form of his enlightenment. He proclaimed, he made known the path, he laid down this path which was never known before. He says, Ubbe ananu sutesu dhammesu. Some of you may say, I know about Four Noble Truths, I know about Eightfold Path. No. Till the Buddha have arisen in the world, no one, even the Deva, even the Brahma, even the Mara, nobody knows the path to liberation and cessations of sufferings. So, Dhammacakka is a symbol, the wheel of truth. And this is just the opposite of Sansara Chakka. Dukkha is, if you think about dukkha, you also think about samsara. Samsara without dukkha is not possible. When you think about dukkha, you know that I am in samsara. So our life is caught in samsara and carried away in not such a way. The Buddha called them as Sansara Chakra, the wheel of life. Why this wheel of life? Why this metaphor the Buddha has used? Because the wheel just rotates endlessly and aimlessly from birth, old age and sickness and death. And that is not the end of the story. That is not the end of it. Your death doesn't mean that your life ends, but actually your life continues. And you catapult into another life, and your journey, you sojourn from this life to another life. So all the time we are being deluded or carried away by samsara. When I say samsara, that means the extremes, the dualities. So Buddha starts with this dveme bhikkhave anta. He says, this anta, extremes, the extremes in any forms. And these extremes, which means indulging yourself in sense pleasures, in so much so that these pleasures turn into suffering. And another form is the extreme of torturing, tormenting your own body in the name of spirituality or in the name of freedom. So these two extremes, called, even we can say, Loka Dhamma. But this Loka Dhamma, if I ask you, where do you see this Loka Dhamma? This Loka Dhamma is in your own life. Labhe, alabhe, yase, ayase, ninda, pasansa, sukhe cha dukhe. If these 8, I don't know whether you all know this or not, but you have experienced it, no doubt. Knowing it doesn't matter, but you have constantly going through this. You have sukha, the sukha turn into dukkha after some time. You find some pleasures through your senses, and then at the next moment you crave. That thing changes, and your craving also changes. Your desire also takes another form. So, sukha and dukkha is one extreme, one form. And then we have ninda pasansa, lava alave. When you are having profits, but you also have to ready to face the loss. In life is going through this law. When you have gain, you have also loss. When you have good reputation, then you have ill reputation, blame. So, like that, this loka dhamma continues non-stop, incessantly, continuously, without any break. And we find this in a pleasure in that. And that is how the Buddha starts with that understanding the nature of our life. It's not about praying and doing these rituals or that rituals, or believing in external powers, gods or this and that, and forgetting yourself. The Buddha reminded us, develop the insight and wisdom into the real phenomena, the realities of our life. To get rid of this suffering, the anta, the Buddha said, then the middle path. But some says, what is this middle path? Some may say, middle path is just in the middle. I will walk in the middle. Or in different forms you may understand. Actually, Buddha says, avoiding of all these extremes and walking on the middle path, which is a means, which is a upaya, which is a skillful means to remove your sufferings, you see. So the second stage of part of this sutta is about the middle path, the approach which gives rise to understanding, which gives rise to awakening, which gives rise to vision and knowledge. So when the Buddha says Majjhima Patipada, now this Majjhima Patipada is nothing but the Noble Eightfold Path. Ayameva Arya Attangiko Mago. Buddha says, what is that middle path? That middle path is the Eightfold Path. You know, the path to purity, the path to liberation, the path to freedom. That is the Majjhima Patipada. And further, Lord Buddha elaborates, what is this Majjhima Patipada again? Then he says, Eightfold Path, which was discovered by the Tathagata, which is never known by anybody. Pubbe ananusutesu dhammesu. Until he perfect his wisdom, his understanding, and totally liberated. Because these truths are coming from a noblest of noble person, the Buddha. He became the noble saints. Therefore, the truth he preached is noble, just not the ordinary truths. The ordinary truths, we have many truths, kind of things. You see, in the world you have many kind of truths, right? You know what to do, you know how to take care of the body, or you know how to behave in the society, in the family. These are all common truths. But these truths doesn't lead you to freedom. And these truths are nowhere it exists. It only exists in the Buddha Sasana, in teachings of Lord Buddha. So, when the Buddha says the Eightfold Path, that is the path which is going beyond these extremes and which leads to the destruction and cessation of dukkha. The second part of this discourse is Well, you know the right understanding, All of you know Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappo, right thinking, right understanding, right thinking, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammantu, right speech and Samma Vacha, right action, right livelihood, Ajiva, and then right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These are the eightfold factors. But simply by remembering or knowing this eightfold factor is not enough. Because these eightfold factors has to be developed, has to be comprehended, has to be realized in your own life. The suffering, if is it there, the path is also there. The path leading to the cessation is there. And the root is also exists within our hearts. So therefore, everybody, every one of us should use this Dhamma Chakra, which is just the opposite of Sansara Chakra. Well, Sansara Chakra, as I said, this Loka Dhamma has 8 spokes, 8 factors, and Dhamma Chakra also has 8 factors. And this Dhamma Chakra leading to happiness, leading to the cessations of dukkha. For samsara is leading again, it's leading you on and on into these cycles of samsara. Samsara chakra is conditioned world which involves you more and more in this world itself. More greed, more hatred, more attachment, more craving you generate, and what the result is, the more suffering. It's not necessary that suffering in ordinary terms, suffering in the metaphysical level, like in the bodily level, in the mental level, is not like whatever you like, you don't get it, and then you suffer. Some people maybe realize this one. Or growing old, or facing sickness is also suffering. But actually down the line in our mind, a mind is tuned, conditioned in such a way, it carried in all the time, is just conditioning. All these kilesas are flowing all the time. Therefore, this path is a very systematic path which the Buddha have taught us out of compassion, so that the people will be released. So, the next, if I go to the sutta, then we have the noble truths. The fourth part of the sutta is noble truths. As I was saying, noble truths is noble because it is discovered by the noblest of noblest sages. The truth bearer, the Samma Sambuddha, has discovered. And these truths will lead you to noblehood, will lead you to sainthood. One become enlightened by penetrating, understanding, developing the knowledge and vision of these truths. So the first truth is talks about dukkha itself, comprehending the dukkha. This is first noble truth with right understanding. Without right view, you will not able to understand what is the dukkha. Is dukkha is not your dukkha or my dukkha. It is a universal phenomena. It's a universal thing and everybody is going through. You see. And if that is dukkha, dukkha should be comprehended. But is there a way? Or what is the cause of this dukkha? Before going to the path, we should find out the cause. The cause is not outside. The cause is right there in our hearts. Dukkha samudaya, that says, Dukkha samudaya idang kopana bhikkhave dukkha samudayang arya satchang. Why that suffering comes and multiplies, and every day we are facing that. Every day we are going through these moments. Any one of you have not experienced dukkha in your life? But why don't you really let go if you understand the dukkha? But we cannot let go the cause of dukkha. Many times we even don't know what is the reason, the cause of our dukkha. Not in deeper level, but in ordinary level, in a family level, in a worldly sense. You are living in the world, but you don't know the cause of your own misery and problems, and your sorrow, suffering, your stress, your mental problem, this problem and that problem, so many. If I talk to each of you, now you give me hundreds of list of problems. Everyone, you see. So this is something we have to do about it. You really think deeply and then discover or find out the cause. As the Buddha says, the craving is the cause. Craving not from the senses, craving for not craving, craving for not to exist also. Craving not to live, it's sort of craving. Craving to live, it's craving. Craving for continued existence. So different forms, our same craving can take different forms. You see. So therefore, there is a path, and the suggestion is possible. Buddha says he gave a hope that the suggestion of this dukkha is within our reach. Anybody, if you really want to make an end of sufferings, then you should follow this path, the path of Noble Eightfold Path. And this path is nothing but the threefold training, the threefold training of purification. That is sila, virtue, samadhi, concentration, and panya, wisdom. So when you develop all these factors and gather together every day in your life, if you use this method, then you'll gather up your mind and energy. You'll have a time that you can quickly recognize this suffering and use these tools and remove the cause of suffering, and then you are at freedom. And you can experience the release here and now. You don't have to wait. You can experience this, the bliss and this Dhamma, the test of Dhamma now, here and now. So, but these Four Noble Truths is not in one session, or you understand and you read one time the sutta and then you think, I understood Dhammacakka Sutta. I know about everything. But the next moment you go home, you know what is there. And you know how you face the world. Even though we know at a superficial level, but our understanding is not so deep that we let go completely this craving and ignorance and attachments. It's not that you have to let go your homes and come back to be a monk here. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the Buddha also said for the good, for the well-being of all sentient beings. So first you have to understand existence of dukkha. It is the first step. Then the kichanyana. Then actually we have to put into practice this Noble Eightfold Path in our daily life. Without practice of this, I don't think neither Brahma, neither Mara, neither this Deva, or even the Buddha himself will come and help you. You see, Buddha says, I have laid down this Dhamma out of compassion, and the rest is up to you, how you use these teachings. So on this day, very significant day, where the Dhamma Ratana, the jewels of Dhamma, has come into existence, risen in the world, and the Sangha, soon after the Buddha preached his first sermon, all the 5 Panchavagiyas are enlightened. First starting with Anya Kondanya, the first Aryas in the Sasana. And with him, 18 crores Devas, Brahmas, they also attained. They all became Aryas. In human world, only Kondanya Bhante, the wise, who realized that Yamkinchi Samudaya Dhammang, Sabbang Tang Nirodha Dhammang. Whatever is subject to arise is subject to pass away. This statement is so deep and profound, and this entered Paticca Samuppada, the entire teachings are right there. You see. So Dhammaratana, Sangharatana exist, arisen in this world from this day. And the Buddha started his mission of compassion after this Vassa. The first Vassa he undertook at Isipatana, Saranath, and then he sent out all his messengers, all his 60 Arhantas in different directions. So, for a follower of Buddha, all the devotees, we should take this Dhammacakka into our life. The more we realize the Dhamma, the more we practice in our daily life, within a family or a society, anywhere, you will have less suffering, and you will have more freedom. You will have more peace and harmony. You will not have chaos and stress and problems. You can handle your life more meaningfully. And after all, this path is leading to enlightenment. You establish yourself in the path to enlightenment. So let us reflect upon this sutta and the first teachings of Lord Buddha. Recite many times, as many times as you can. Contemplate it and see it in your daily life. And then you are at the right path. You are at the noble path then. So with this, I will not take time. We will have very short time. I conclude here, wishing you a very happy Dhammacakka day. And I hope you understood this message, and further you contemplate and read the commentaries, read the suttas, and develop your understanding, and then practice. So with this, I conclude. May in the blessings of Lord Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha surround your life with happiness, well-being, peace and prosperity. May you all be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.